Hello everybody, hope you all had a good weekend and hope you did something interesting. I just thought I'd make a short video to answer a few questions that I've had and discuss a little bit about native conversation and listening and things like that. So the first question I had was about the subtitles on my videos. So one of the questions was asking, is it okay that they were understanding my videos only by subtitles? Well, I think it's no problem if you need to use subtitles to understand the video, because it's never easy understanding someone speaking in a foreign language. But I think for studying a foreign language, subtitles can be a very useful tool for helping you identify words or areas where you can study and improve yourself. And just like we practice speaking in conversation practices, we're also practicing hearing as well. So maybe, for example, the first time when there's a video that you're watching, maybe the first time you should try and listen to it without looking at any subtitles and see how much you can really understand, and try and see if you can, even if you can't understand every word, imagine or guess what the meaning to the actual sentence or video was. And then after that, you can either use the Japanese subtitles to understand everything or go to the English subtitles, and then you can really identify the words that you had trouble understanding, or the point in the grammar structure where you didn't quite understand, and then you've actually used the subtitles as a tool to learn more when you're studying English. Okay, and then it's very good to practice listening to those over again, and even practice saying those things over again, so you have a good understanding of the sound and the pronunciation that's associated with it. The next question was regarding native conversation. So one of the questions was asking, in a classroom English or in a listening test, they were able to understand almost everything that they heard, but then when they go to a native conversation situation, they find it very difficult to understand everything. And I think it's something that we all experience at some point, from going from the classroom to actually using English in everyday conversation. And the same goes for me when I was living in Japan, going from my classroom Japanese to speaking with friends. And it's a necessary step to take, and it's like the same way that you became good at classroom English, you then have to apply the same logic to native conversation. And the ideal way and the best way is to immerse yourself into a conversation with people who are native speakers, and maybe at first start with a one-on-one, so you're with one native speaker, then at least they'll control their pace of conversation to meet your level. And then as you get better, maybe you'll join in with two native conversation speakers, and then you really see how fast native speakers speak and how much dialect comes into play. And then you just have to be confident enough to ask them to explain maybe what they've said, and identify again which words or which phrases were the ones that were tripping you up and making you unable to understand what they were talking about. Obviously, if you're living in Japan and you want to have a native conversation with English speakers, it's not always easy to find someone to have a conversation with. So then I would recommend trying to find, radio shows or TV shows where there's good sort of native conversation and everyday English being used. And if people want to do that, then please feel free to send me a message, and I'll try and recommend some good TV shows or radio shows where I feel like there's a good level of everyday conversation occurring. Okay, and then the other thing I just wanted to discuss a little bit was about speaking in everyday English. And I often find that going to a foreign country, people are very worried that the people they're speaking to won't understand everything they're talking about, and so they tend to be nervous and they don't really want to say anything. But my opinion is when you get to a certain level and you understand the basic grammar, you should try not to worry at all about being 100% perfect, because actually with a very low percent of being correct, you can still be understood by a person who's native in that language. For example, if I said tomorrow go London, most people would understand that I'm saying tomorrow I'm going to go to London. And then if you just change your intonation, tomorrow go London, you know that the person is asking you if you're going to London tomorrow. And even with that level of correctness, you can still be understood. So I think you should always try to talk as freely as possible and without worrying about being perfect all the time if you can, okay? So there were just a few of my opinions, and I've tried to answer a few of the questions that have come in, because I think they're of general interest to everyone, and hopefully my answers will help people with their progression in studying. Okay, thank you for watching again, and I hope you all have a good week, and I look forward to seeing you all again. Okay, take care, goodbye.